Hello everyone, my name is Alyan Firewala. Today we have the privilege of speaking with Shannon, a fascinated advocate for positive change and living the world better than she found it. Shannon's journey is marked by her unwavering commits to making lasting impact on society. Join us as we explore her inspiration, mission, and the driving force behind her vision for brighter, more compassionate world. So, hello, Miss. How are you?
I'm good today. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be with you hosting the Unlock the Success Story with Alyan. Um, it's funny that Unlock the Success Story because I feel like my story is just now evolving. Like success, have I do I have success? I don't know if I have success. I'm on the road to success, right? Aren't you on the road to success?
You are successful, ladies. Okay, Miss. So, first of all, I am very thankful to you to coming in my show. Thank you so much.
Say that again. What was the question?
I am very thankful to you to coming in my show. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. You're welcome. It's my pleasure. Really,
Oh,
my
thank
honor.
you so much. So before moving on the question, can you please introduce yourself?
Sure. So, my name is Shannon Lovgren. I am an American who is living in Sweden, and um, I love to be in nature. I'm a real nature buff, and I work to try to make the world a better place through my job. And that is also a reason why I have a passion for sustainability and the sustainable development goals.
Wow, wonderful. Thank you so much for this introduction. Okay, miss. So my first question is just to what inspired your passion for making a positive impact on the world?
It's hard to know what inspired me to want to make the world a better place, but I think it was my mom. My mother was a nurse, and she was like very good at taking care of people, and she always tried to be helpful. And there was one time she went with a group called the Flying Doctors Association, and she went. There was a some sort of natural disaster like an earthquake, and she went with that organization to Mexico to help, provide medical care for people who were injured in the earthquake. And when she came back from that trip, she was so like radiant. She just glowed with the delight that she had in being able to make a positive difference in the lives of those people. And I just remember that as being like a moment where I knew that if you do good things for people or with people, that it just makes you feel good. And she was a great role model to me. So I think she was my inspiration for wanting to do good. And then every time you do something that's good for the world, it just feels good. So it's a reinforcing passion because when you do good, you feel good. And when you feel good, you do good.
Exactly, wonderful. Okay, miss. So my next question in your screen, can you share a specific experience or moment that integrate your commitment to living a lasting positive legacy?
um, it's such a great question because I don't really think I've thought about my commitment to leaving a legacy. Like, like a legacy seems like something that people who are big personalities or very, very successful, they leave a legacy. And it's a good question because I hadn't thought about my own personal legacy, but I have three children and I want to leave a good legacy for them so that they are proud of me when I leave this earth. Um, so, an instant that ignited that passion. Well, there's just moments in my career where knowing that the good, like when you do a good job and you do important work, that you just want to do more important work, because if you can make a difference with the work that you do, um, then it just makes you want to do more and more of it. So the specific instance would be, I used to work. There was a terrorist attack on the U.S. Embassy in 1998, and I responded to that terrorist attack and helped people in the immediate aftermath of the bad thing with their medical care and their as an emergency medical technician. And then for 3 or 4 years after that, I helped people get back on their feet through my job with USAID, and that was just a life changing job, um, and an experience.
That's great. Awesome, wonderful. Okay, miss. So my next question is, what are some of the key value or principles that guide your action and decision in these endeavors?
Mm. Another great question. So one of the key values that I have is that that everybody is of equal value, regardless of their circumstances in life, whether they be rich or poor, or successful or unsuccessful, or um, fully able or have other abilities. Everyone has the same value. Every life is worthy, and so that's kind of your basic human right of everyone deserves to have opportunities and good chances in life. The second value would be to treat people like I would like to be treated. We're all in this world together, so let's be as good to each other as we possibly can. And I want people to treat me very well. And so I know that other people also want to be treated well. So, treating others like you would want to be treated yourself is a key value. And then a third value would be just treat people with dignity. Like people, everyone has dignity, and people are having you never know what somebody's going through. You never know um, what the reasoning is behind the way they act. So to approach people with a little bit of grace and humility, and to treat them with dignity, no matter how they're acting or who they're being, is is an ideal that I try to live up to. I don't always live up to that because we all get frustrated, but that's that's a core value.
Wonderful. That's great. Okay, miss. So my next question is, how do you define leaving the world better than you found it in your own words?
I must say, you are just really terrific with the questions. The So, how do I define leaving the world a better than I found it in my own words? Uh, I would say, try leaving the world a better place would be not that I'm like literally cleaning up a part of the world, but leaving a good impression with my life is how I would define it. So, for instance, um, working in a job that contributes to the betterment of the world, is one way that I can make the world a better place. Smiling at the my neighbors as I walk down the street, that's a little bit of a way to make the world a better place, in a small way. And teaching my children to be responsible, kind, considerate, responsible people. That's a way of leaving the world a better place. Um, Being conscientious about what I buy and what I use and the things that I do and their impact on the environment and on other people is a way that I can make the world a better place by the choices that I make. So I'm not thinking that I'm going to literally make the world a better place in a big, big way, But I think through small kindnesses and small decisions and with personal responsibility, you can make the world a little bit better and inspire others to take that step to make the world a better place in small ways. And together, if we're all working towards the same goal, then we can achieve a lot together. And that's how you make the world a better place.
That's great, awesome, wonderful. So, what are some of initiatives or projects you have been involved in to achieve this goal?
Hmm. So I have been fortunate to have a career that has had many different iterations. So I have been a humanitarian aid worker where I was working to help people get access to better health care or better education or better um, access to safe blood. So through my job, I've been able to work on a number of initiatives that have made very specific people's lives better. And that was been through I worked at USAID for a while, and then I worked for another NGO where I was teaching sustainability to politicians. Now, my role with that initiative was to inspire politicians to use the Sustainable Development Goals as a framework to help their citizens live more sustainable lives and reduce poverty and hunger, to have better healthcare and well-being, and all of the 17 sustainable development goals. And that was an initiative where I got to inspire one person who then got to inspire another person who then got to inspire another person. And we all were taking actions towards the 17 sustainable development goals. And that felt like a great opportunity to collaborate on making a difference.
Wonderful, that's great. So, can you highlight a particular project or achievement that you are especially proud in your mission to make a difference?
Hmm. See, a particular project or achievement in making a difference. Yeah, so one of my very first jobs that I had, like a big responsible job where I was in charge of things, was after the terrorist attack on the US Embassy in Nairobi. I was able to lead the humanitarian aid response of USAID, and that project we spent $47 million, and our goal was to improve the lives of the survivors and to rebuild businesses and buildings, and create a memorial park. And that was a 4-year project that covered getting people back on their feet in all sorts of ways, whether it was job training or rehabilitation or putting kids through school by paying their school fees. And that particular project was the honor of my life, to be able to help those families get back on their feet, to be able to live productive lives after suffering and just a horrible, horrible tragedy. And I'm super proud of that. And in fact, I have right, like over here on my wall, I have a a plaque that the government gave me saying, thank you for your extraordinary efforts. And I keep that on my wall because it reminds me of something just that feels like an everyday going to work can actually make a difference in people's lives. And I know that I made a big difference in at least 2,000 people's lives through that work.
That's great, wonderful. So, what challenges you have encountered while working towards your goal and how you overcame them?
Mm. Well, challenges are, you can't live life without challenges, right? There's always going to be something that stands as an obstacle in your way. But one of the biggest challenges that I've had while working towards my goal is is meeting the right people. Like if I'm going to, for instance, teach about sustainability, and I want you to implement the things that I'm sharing, um, you have to be a person who's willing to take action. So sometimes my challenge has been doing the right thing with the right people, because some people don't really care about making the world a better place. And if they don't care about making the world a better place, then they're not going to do anything. So finding the right partners has been a big challenge. And how I've overcome it is by having some initial conversations with people, and you get a good idea as to who is interested in making a positive difference, and people who just like want to go to work and do their job. So once you find people who have that same spirit of like, yeah, let's do this, and that they care, then you can overcome anything, really, all of the challenges.
Exactly, that's great, wonderful. Okay, Miss, so my next question is, at our Rehan School, our curriculum does not include science, physics, or math. Instead, we focus on technology, freelancing, IT, AI. I'd like to know your opinion on this approach.
Okay, well, one, I did not know that your curriculum does not include science, physics, or math. So, what? But I think that you're going to get the math that you need, the science that you need, and the physics that you need through using technology and freelancing in IT. So if you're a freelancer, you're going to have to know how to do some math if you want to make any money, right? You're going to have to figure out the economies of what things cost, and how to do the practical math that you need to do in order to run a business. For AI, you are going to be using the modern, the latest technology and the latest science to do the things that you want to do, and to make those things efficient. So even though you might not have those specific topics on your in your curriculum, I think you're still going to get some real practical applications of math and science and physics in your the curriculum that you do have on technology. So, and hopefully the fact that you don't have traditional science like microbiology or chemistry or physics, that you'll get curious about those things, because there's real opportunities to use technology, freelancing, IT, and AI, and all of those areas. So hopefully it'll teach you to be curious. It looks like I lost you for a second, but now you're back.
Okay, thank you so much. So, Miss, as you continue your mission, what legacy do you hope to leave for future generation?
Mhm. The legacy, I hope, like I said, I hadn't really thought of legacy, because I always think big people have legacies, and I'm just a person who wants to make a difference. But the legacy I hope that I can leave for future generations is to, hmm, what is my legacy? That's such a good question. I'm going to have to think about that. My hope to leave a legacy was that we would live in a world that lives within the planetary boundaries, and that we are kind to one another, that there no war, no poverty, no hunger, that there's gender equality, that we use renewable and sustainable energy for everyone everywhere, that we build sustainable cities and communities, and that we take climate action, and that we are partners across the globe instead of strangers and adversaries, that we can, my hope And I don't know if I could leave this legacy, but I could be a tiny, tiny part of the big puzzle. Would be to would be to meet all the biggest challenges that we face in the world together with others, and have a good time doing it. Like, let's have some fun while we're changing the world for the better. Yeah, that would be my legacy. If we could change the world for the better and have fun, that would be an amazing legacy.
That's great, wonderful. So, do you have any upcoming project or goals related to your mission that you have that I'd like to share?
I do have one that's related to my work that's coming up. So I work for an organization called Acumen, www.acumen.org, and we are committed to solving challenges of poverty by investing in businesses. And one thing that's coming up that relates to you and to Pakistan is Acumen is starting a resilient agriculture fund to help smallholder farmers in Pakistan, and we are doing the fundraising for that right now. And my job is, as part of the development and partnerships team, is to raise money. So I'm excited about raising a whole bunch of capital that we can invest in Pakistani solutions to the climate crisis.
That's great, awesome, wonderful. So, Miss, what role does sustainability play in your effort to create a better world, and how do you promote it?
Hmm. So sustainability is it plays a big role in my efforts to create a better world. And how do I promote it? I promote it by talking and teaching about the Sustainable Development Goals. And those are 17 goals that were created through the UN initiative by asking, I think it was over 20 million people that they asked as to what are the biggest challenges that the world faces today, and and what are the key things that we need to focus on to start addressing them. So teaching people about these 17 sustainable development goals and the 146 targets that exist gives people a framework that they can work with so that they can talk about, like, solving big problems. And they're just not big problems that you don't know, like, where to even start. It breaks those problems or those challenges into smaller pieces that you can more easily address. And nobody is going to solve all of the problems of the world alone. So my number one area of focus on with sustainability is partnerships for the goals. If we have the goal of making the world a better place, then number one thing we have to do, in my opinion, is work together with that good intention.
That's great, wonderful. Miss, my last question is, what is the significance of empathy and compassion in your work, and how do you cultivate these qualities in your life?
Oh, that's a beautiful question. The significance of empathy and compassion in my work is it's big. It's big because when you are telling stories about, um, or my job right now is raising funds. And when you raise funds, it's one thing to tell people about, you know, there's poverty. We need you to give money so that we can solve poverty. Nobody's inspired by that. Nobody's interested in that. But when you tell a story about how a smallholder farmer was able to buy a tractor to then be able to cultivate their field and increase their income and their produce by 10 times, and that made a difference to all of their children going to school, um, and that meant that they had a future outside, like, beyond poverty. When you can tell an empathetic story, and build people's compassion because they know that they wouldn't want to be in that position because they also have empathy. That enables us to take action and to collaborate in ways that we probably wouldn't do if we just had information. So, empathy and compassion are really key to inspiring people to do the good things that we want to do. So, empathy and compassion are a big thing. And how I build it in my own life is by being grateful for all the empathy and compassion that people have shown me in my life. I'm grateful when I see empathy and compassion being shown by others to people around me. It's a very significant thing, and it's a way of being. To be an empathetic and compassionate person means that you care about others, and if you want to solve big problems, you need to care about the people that those problems affect. So it plays a pretty significant role. That was a great question.
That's great, wonderful, Miss. So, thank you so much in coming my show. I am again very thankful to you to coming in my show and sharing your knowledge, sharing your experience with us. I hope everybody learned something new with your talk, with your speech, with your experience. Thank you so much, Miss. Again.
Okay, well, Alyan, so I talked to Rehan Aliwala earlier today, and he said not only should I was telling him that I was so inspired by the students of the school um, asking to interview me, and you had such good questions, whatever. And he was like, I said I feel like I should be interviewing them because I think you're probably very interesting. I would love to ask these same questions to you. And he said, well, why don't you do that? So in like I don't have a whole lot of time right now, but in the future, would you be open to me interviewing you?
Yeah, sure. Why
Sure.
not?
Okay. All right. Well, I may be back in touch with you for a an interview where I get to ask you all of the same questions you asked me to see what positive difference you want to make in the world. Sound good?
Yeah, sure. Sound good. Anytime. I am free always.
Okay, well, thank you so much for interviewing me, and I'm wishing you phenomenal success. And I'm doing so many interviews just because people have asked. I'm gonna share your interview on my Facebook page, but I don't. But it might take me a couple of days. But if you send me the link to the video, I'll share it.
Yeah, sure. Can send you a link.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you, Alyan. Have
Thank
a
you
good
so
one.
much.
You're welcome. Bye.